Hello, and welcome to another Read With Me session. I'm yours truly, Isabel, and I'm here to read with you the second part of chapter two, of this amazing book. So we're on chapter 2, part 2, and it's called Keep It Slow and Easy. So we're really pumped about this. This book is phenomenal, and I'm hoping you have the physical copy along with the audio version. I've heard the audio version like 2 to 3 times. I'm pretty sure it's 3. But now reading the physical version, complete game changer, because there's something about Audible that you can do whatever it is that you want to do, and then you're just listening to it. But then when you actually sit down, read it, take in the information, highlight whatever it is that you want to highlight, it just makes the experience a lot more effective, and you retain the information a lot more efficiently. So with that in mind, allow this amazing breeze, warm breeze. Actually, it's kind of cool right now, to warm up your life if you're in the winter states where there's snow and it's cold out. Here's my warmth to you. Greetings from Mexico, by the way. All right, let's get into it. Keep it slow and easy. Don't panic. We're starting off with an easy breezy tempo, just one track, one habit for 1 week. Pick the habit that has the greatest control over you. That's where you'll start. Once you begin reaping the rewards of the compound effect, you'll naturally want to introduce this practice into other areas of your life. And in other words, you'll choose to track. Let's say the category you choose is getting your eating under control because you want to lose weight. Your task is to write down everything you put in your mouth, from the steak, potatoes, and salad you have at dinner, to those many tiny choices during the day, the handful of pretzels in the break room, the second slice of cheese on your sandwich, that fun-sized candy bar, that sample at Costco, those extra sips of wine after the host tops off your glass. Don't forget the beverages, they all add up. But unless tracked, they're easy to dismiss or forget because they seem so small. Again, merely writing these things down sounds simple, and it is, but only when you do it. That's why I'm asking you to commit to choosing a category and to start a date now before you turn this page. So he has this line right here. It says, I'm going to start blank. I'm going to start tracking blank on date, month, year. What will the tracking look like? It will be thorough, as in organized, and relentless, as in constant. Each day you'll start with a date at the top of a fresh page and start keeping track. What happens after the first week of tracking? You'll probably be in shock. You'll be astonished at how these calories, pennies, or minutes have been escaping you. You never even knew that they were, let alone that they've vanished. Now keep going. You're going to track in this one area for 3 weeks. Maybe you're already groaning. You don't want to do it, but trust me, you'll be so blown away by the results after 1 week, you'll sign yourself up for another 2. I can practically guarantee it. Why 3 weeks? You've heard psychologists say that something doesn't become a habit until you practice it for 3 weeks. It's not exact science, but it's a good benchmark, and it has worked for me. So ideally, I want you to stick with your choice to track your behaviors for 21 days. If you refuse, I'm not going to lose anything. Heck, it's not my waistline or cardiovascular health or bank balance or relationship you're messing with. But seriously, you're reading this book because you want to change your life, right? And I promise you, it was going to take slow, steady work, didn't I? This one action isn't easy, but it's simple and doable, so do it. Promise yourself to start today for the next 3 weeks. Choose to carry around your own small notepad or a large one if that's more exciting. And then write every single thing down in your category, every single thing down in your category. What happens in 3 weeks? Well, you move from shock that follows the first week to happy surprise of seeing how merrily becoming conscious of your actions begins to shape them. You'll find yourself asking, do I really want that candy bar? Am I going to have to haul out my notebook and write it down? And I'll feel a little sheepish. That's 100, that's 200 calories saved right there. Turn down the candy bar every day, and in a little more than 2 weeks, you'll have already lost a pound. You'll start adding up about $4 of coffee on the way to work and realize, holy cow, I've just spent $60 on coffee in 3 weeks. Hey, that's $1,000 a year, or compounded, that's $51,833.79 in 20 years. How much do you really need to stop for coffee? See figure 3. Come again. Am I saying that your $4 a day coffee habit is going to cost you $51,833 in 20 years? Yes, I am. Did you know that every dollar that you spend today, no matter where you spend it, is actually costing you nearly $5 in 20 years and $10 in 30 years? Well, that's because if you took a look how a dollar grew at 8% in 20 years, the dollar would be worth almost 5. And every time that you spend $1 today, it's like taking $5 out of your future pocket. I used to make this mistake of looking at a price tag and thinking that if an item was listed at $50, it cost me $50. But yes, well, in today's dollars. But if you consider the potential value of that same $50 after it has been invested for 20 years, it costs the cost of what you could be losing by spending that money rather than using it to grow is 4 to 5 times greater. In other words, every time that you look at an item that costs $50, you have to ask yourself, is this item really worth $250? If it's worth $250 to you today, then it's worth buying. Keep that in mind next time you go to a place like Costco with all sorts of amazing things that you didn't even know you had to have. You go in to buy $25 worth of necessities and you walk out with $400 of stuff instead. Next time you walk into one of those bargain basement stores, assess things from this future value standpoint. Chances are that you'll put down that $50 crepe maker, so future you will have $250 more in the bank. Make the correct choices every day, every week, for many years, and you can quickly see how you can become financially abundant. When you track with this awareness, you'll find yourself showing up in your life very differently. You'll be able to ask yourself, is having a coffee once every work day worth the eventual price of a Mercedes-Benz? Because that's what it's costing you. And even more than that, you're not sleepwalking anymore. You're aware and conscious and making better choices, all from a little notebook and pen. Simply amazing, isn't it? The unseen hero. Once you start tracking your life, your attention will be focused on the smallest things you're doing right, as well as the smallest things that you're doing wrong. And when you choose to make the smallest course corrections consistently over time, you'll begin to see amazing results. But don't expect immediate fanfare. When I say small course actions or small course corrections, I'm talking truly invisible. Chances are no one's going to notice them anytime soon, and there will be no applause. No one's going to send you a congratulations card or a trophy for these disciplines, at least not yet. Eventually, their compounding effect will result in an exceptional payoff. It's the littlest disciplines that pay off over time in the effort and preparation for the great triumph that happened when no one was looking. And yet the results are exceptional. A horse wins by a nose, but gets 10 times the prize money. Is the horse 10 times faster? No, just a little bit better. But it was those extra laps around the track, that extra discipline in the horse's nutrition, or that extra work by the jockey that made the results a slight bit better with the compounded rewards. And after hundreds of tournaments played and thousands of strokes tallied, the difference between the number 1 ranked golfer and the number 10th golfer is an average of 0.32 strokes. but the difference in price money is more than double, 9.6 million versus 4.6 million. And the number one golfer isn't just 5 times better, not even 50% or 10 times better. In fact, his average score is only 0.5% better. Yet the results are more than double. Wow. That's awesome to hear, you know? I feel like we all know this, but like reading it, seeing it, and understanding it, it makes sense. That's the power of little things adding up. It's not big things that add up in the end. It's the hundreds, thousands, or even millions of little things that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. To be one stroke better requires countless little things that don't get accounted for when you're putting on that green jacket. So let me give you a few more ways of tracking small changes that can result into huge, huge payoffs. Here we go. Take a walk. I was mentoring a CEO of a sizable company doing more than 100 million in sales annually. Phil was an entrepreneur and founder of the company. The company was doing fine, but it detected a lack of engagement, trust, and enthusiasm in the culture of his organization. I wasn't too surprised. It turns out that Phil hadn't been in parts of his own building for more than 5 years. He'd never spoken personally to more than 80% of his staff. He basically lived in a bubble with his management team. I asked Phil to track only one change. 3 times a week, he had to step outside of his office and walk around the building. His goal was to seek out at least 3 people whom he saw doing things right, or he had heard good things about, and give them some personal praise, recognition, and appreciation. This one small change in his behavior took less than an hour a week, but had massive effects over time. The employees Phil took the time to recognize began to go the extra mile and work harder to earn his greater appreciation. Other employees started to perform better, observing that great effort was recognized and appreciated. The ripple effect of this new attitude transferred to the customer interactions, improving the customer experience with the company and increasing repeat and referral business, which increased everyone's pride. That simple change over the period of the 18 months did a complete 180 on the company culture. Net profits grew by 30% during the time, and utilizing the same staff and 0 additional investment in marketing. All because Phil committed to one small, seemingly insignificant step done consistently over time. That's awesome. Money tree. Many years ago, I had a wonderful assistant, Kathleen. She earned $40,000 a year at the time. She was tasked to manage the registration table situated at the back of the room during one of my lectures on entrepreneurship and wealth building. The next week, she came into my office and she's like, I heard you talk about saving 10% of everything that you earn, she told me. And that sounds nice, but there's no way I could do that. It's totally unrealistic. She proceeded to tell me about all of her bills and financial obligations, and after she wrote them all out, it was obvious there wasn't any money left over at the end of the month. She's like, I need a raise. And then so I told her, Darren Hardy, Darren's like, I'll do better than that. I'm going to teach you how to become wealthy. It wasn't the answer she was looking for, but she agreed. I taught Kathleen how to track her spending, and she began to carry her notebook. I told her to open a separate savings account with only $33, just 1% of her existing monthly income. I then showed her how to live on $33 less the next month. Bring in her own lunch just once a week instead of going downstairs to the deli and ordering a sandwich, chips, and a drink. The next month, I had her save only 2%, $67. She saved the additional $33 by changing her cable subscription service. The next month, we went up to 3%. She canceled her subscription to People magazine. It was time to study her own life. And instead of going to Starbucks twice a week, I told Kathleen to buy the Starbucks beans and other fancy fixings and make her own coffee in the office. She grew to like that even better. And me too. By the end of the year, Kathleen was saving 10% of every dollar she earned without noticing a significant impact on her lifestyle. She was amazed. That one discipline also had a ripple effect on many other disciplines in her life. She calculated what she spent on mind-numbing entertainment and began investing that money on personal growth instead. After feeding her mind with several hundred hours of inspirational, instructional content, her creativity started to soar. She brought me several ideas on how we could make and save more money in our organization. She presented me with a plan that she would implement in her spare time if I promised to reward her with 10% of all the money saving strategies and 15% of all the new revenue strategies that proved profitable. And by the end of the second year, she was earning more than $100,000 a year on the same $40,000 base salary. And Kathleen eventually started her own independent contract service business that took off. I ran into Kathleen at an airport a few years ago. She now earns more than $250,000 a year and has saved and created more than $1 million in assets. She's a millionaire, all starting from the choice to take one small step and start saving $33 a month. Time is of the essence. The earlier you start making small changes, the more powerfully the compound effect works in your favor. Suppose that your friend listened to Dave Ramsey's advice and began putting $250 in a Roth IRA when she got to her first job after graduating from college at the age of 23. You, on the other hand, don't start saving until you're 40. Or maybe you start saving a little earlier, but cleaned out your entire retirement account because you didn't even notice any great gains. So by the time that your friend is 40, she never has to invest another dollar and will have more than $1 million by the age of 67, growing at 8% interest compounded monthly. You continue to invest $250 every month until you reach 67, the normal retirement age for Social Security for those born after 1960. That means that you're saving for 27 years in contrast to her 17 years. When you're ready to retire, you'll have less than $300,000 and you will have invested $27,000 more than your friend. Even though you saved for more years and invested much more cash, you still end up with less than a third of the money that you could have had. That's what happens when we procrastinate and neglect necessary behaviors, habits, and disciplines. Don't wait another day to start the small disciplines that will lead you in the direction of your goals. Are you telling yourself that you're starting so late that you're already way behind of the 8 ball and can never catch up? Well, that's just another tired tape in your head. It's time to turn it off. It's never too late to reap the benefits of the compound effect. Suppose you've always wanted to play the piano, but feel like it's too late because you're about to turn 40. If you start now, by the time your retirement age, you could be a master, as you'll have been playing for 25 years. The key is to start now. Every great act, every fantastic adventure starts with small steps. The first step always looks harder than it actually is. But what if 25 years seems too long? What if you only have time or patience for 10 years? Brian Tracy taught me how to improve any area of your life by 1,000%, not 10%, not even 100%, but 1,000%. Let me outline it for you. All you have to do to improve yourself, your performance, and your output and earnings by 0.1% each workday. You even get to slack off on weekends. That is 1/1000. Do you think that you could do that? Of course, anyone could do that. It's simple. Do it each day of the week, and you'll improve by 0.5% each week. Translation, not much. Equaling 2% each month, which compounded adds up to 26% each year. Your income now doubles every 2.9 years. By year 10, you can be performing and earning 1,000% more than what you are now. Isn't that amazing? You don't have to put in 1,000% more effort or work 1,000% more hours, just 1/10 of 1% improvement each day, and that's it. Success is a half marathon. Success is a half marathon. Beverly was a salesperson at an educational software company, and I was conducting a turnaround for. One day, she told me about her friend who was running a half a marathon the upcoming weekend, and I could never do such a thing. Beverly, who was significantly overweight, assured me, I get winded up going after a single flight of stairs. And if you want to, you can choose to do what your friend is doing, I told her. She balked saying, there's absolutely no way. And even though I'd love to be able to do that, there's absolutely no way. My first step was to help Beverly find motivation. So I was like, Beverly, why would you even want to run a half marathon? And she's like, well, my 20-year high school reunion is coming up next summer, and I want to look fabulous, but I've gained so much weight ever since I had my second child 5 years ago. I don't even know how I can do it. Bingo. Now we had a motivation goal, but I proceeded with caution. If you've ever tried to lose weight, you probably know the drill. Buy an expensive gym membership, drop a fortune on personal trainers, new equipment, spiffy new workout clothes, a great athletic footwork, work out vigorously for a week or so, and then turn to your elliptical machine into a clothes drying rack, ditch the gym, and let your sneakers mold in the corner. I wanted to try a better way with Beverly. I knew that if I could get her to choose just one new habit, she'd become hooked, and all the other behaviors would naturally fall in line. I asked Beverly to drive her car around the block and map out a 1 mile loop from her house. Then I told her to walk the loop 3 times over a period of 2 weeks. Notice that I didn't ask her to start by running the mile. Instead, I started with a very small, easy task that required no major stretch or pain. Then I had to walk the loop 3 times in 1 week for an additional 2 weeks. Each day, she made the choices to continue on. Next, I told Beverly to start a slow jog, only as far as she felt comfortable. And as soon as she started feeling breathless, she was to stop and continue walking. I asked her to do this until she could run 1/4, then 1/2, and then 3/4 of that mile. It took 3 more weeks, 9 outings, before she could jog a full mile. After a total of 7 weeks, she was jogging the whole loop. That might seem like a long time for such a short victory, right? Well, after all, half a marathon is 13.1 miles. 1 mile is nothing. What was something, however, was that Beverly was beginning to see how her choices to get fit for the reunion, her why power, as soon as I'll explain, was fueling her with new health habits. The compound effect had been set in motion and was starting its miraculous process. I then asked Beverly to increase her distance an eighth of a mile each outing, an almost unnoticeable length, but maybe only 300 steps further. Within 6 months, she was running 9 miles without any discomfort at all. In 9 months, she was running 13.5 miles regularly, more than the distance of a half marathon. As part of her running routine, more exciting though, was what happened in the other areas of her life. Beverly lost her cravings for chocolate, a lifelong obsession, and heavy fatty foods. Gone. The increased energy she felt from cardiovascular exercise and better eating choices helped her bring more enthusiasm to her work. Her sales performance doubled during the same period, which was great for me. As we saw in the previous chapter, the ripple effect of all this momentum raised her self-esteem, which made her more affectionate toward her husband. The relationship became more passionate than it had been since college because she had renewed energy. Her interaction with her children became more active and animated. She noticed she no longer had time to hang out with her Debbie Downer friends who still gathered together afterward for greasy appetizers and drinks. She made new healthy friends in a running club she joined, which led to a whole host of additional positive choices, behaviors, and habits. Following that first conversation in my office and Beverly's decision to find her why power and commit to a series of small steps, she lost more than 40 pounds, becoming a walking and running billboard for fit and empowered women. And today, Beverly runs full marathons. Your life is a product of your moment to moment choices, Jillian Michaels. says, if you don't know who Jillian Michaels is, she's like the biggest loser TV star. She shared with Darren a huge, very powerful childhood story. Jillian Michaels was saying that when she was a kid, her mom would have these elaborate Easter egg hunts for her. She's like, I would run around the house, and when I would get close to the hidden edge, she said, "Ooh, you're warm." And you get closer, you get closer to it and you're on fire. And then you would move away from the egg and then she'd go, "Oh, you're cold and you're freezing." And I teach my contestants that on a moment to moment basis. I need them to think that their happiness and their ultimate goal as being warm. How every choice and every decision they make in that moment is getting them closer to their ultimate goal. And since your outcomes are all a result of your moment to moment choices, you have an incredible power to change your life by changing those choices. Step by step, day by day, your choices will shape your actions until they become habits, where practice makes them permanent. I like that line. Losing is a habit, so is winning. Now let's work on permanently instilling winning habits into your life. Eliminate sabotaging habits and instill the need for positive habits, and you can take your life in any direction that you desire to the heights of your greatest imagination. And let me show you how in the next chapter. So here's some summary action steps that you can take. There's 4 points, so I'm going to read them to you very quickly. Number 1, what area, person, or circumstance in your life do you struggle with the most? Start journaling all the aspects of that situation that you are grateful for. Keep a record of everything that you reinforces and expands your gratitude in that area. Number 2, where in your life are you not taking 100% responsibility for the success or failure of your present condition? Write down 3 things that you have done in the past that have messed things up. List 3 things you should have done but didn't. And write out 3 things that happened to you but you responded poorly to. Write them down. Write those 3 things that you can start doing right now to take back responsibility for the outcomes of your life. Number 3, start tracking at least one behavior in one area of your life you'd like to change and improve on. Examples are money, nutrition, fitness, recognizing others, parenting, any area really. And then number 4, once you have started consistently tracking at least one behavior, you can expand this process by using the achievement management system inside the Living Your Best Year Ever journal. To get your journal along with a companion audio, video, and tutorial, go to livingyourbestyearever.com. Awesome. And that concludes chapter 2, part 2 of this amazing book. And then we're going to get into chapter 3, which has 3 parts, which is funny, right? And then we're going to get into chapter 4 and so on and so forth. So I'm super, super excited to get into it. I'm really loving this book. I love how he has like these moments of quirkiness. And I love that he's like kind of, I don't know. I like that kind of humor of like kind of dry, but at the same time, he's like a no BS type of person. I like that. So I'll see you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to apply that those 4 different exercises. I know I will, and I'm super excited for all the blessings heading your way. Talk to you soon.